Hi, I'm Steve, the chair of ECSFR, and this one's for parents. Okay, so those of you that follow us on various electronic media would have seen that we recently issued a letter to the Department of Education in response to some things that have been going on at Byron Bay Primary School. Now, interestingly, I feel the response from you out in the community, parents mostly, has really been overwhelming. So much so that we're not in a position where we can individually answer all of your questions and offer input to those. But what we can do is give you this video. So, first of all, thank you. We do acknowledge that many parents have children that are experiencing symptoms of poisoning from microwave radiation and have had very similar experiences across the state, indeed the country, from the Department of Education in terms of how that's responded to. Okay, so what's happening? Well, since that last letter was sent, a follow-up, we've had some correspondence back and forward with the Secretary and Deputy Secretary of the Department of Education, and the department has responded. Significantly, they acknowledged our concerns, our genuine concerns. They stated quite clearly what the department's legal obligations were, and that they would be conducting their due diligence, and that's quite understandable. Okay, so we've made some suggestions, and some of those suggestions may well be new to the department, and as a consequence, they do need to look into, they do need to investigate those suggestions. Now, we all believe, of course, when it comes to the health of a child, the time is of the essence, so I'm certain that they're doing things as quickly as they can. Specifically, they're contacting the PANZA, of course that's no surprise to anyone, and the New South Wales Department of Health. I have asked if we can post that interim letter on our website, and we'll keep you posted on that. We responded to the department's advice. One of the things the department clearly stated was that risk is a key issue, risk to health, and that the department do need to take reasonable measures to mitigate any risk to children's health. Very clearly, risk to health has been known about since at least 2001, when we had the Australian Senate inquiry. It's been reconfirmed by the World Health Organization in classifying the microwave radiation as a 2B carcinogen. That's the same as DDT. And so let's just look at the analogy for a minute. If somebody was spraying DDT in your yard, over your house, you'd probably be concerned. The invisible poison that is EMR is happening all the time from cell towers and neighbours and so on. Having Wi-Fi in the classroom may be analogous to putting a few drops of that DDT in your child's water. And this is something that is very real, and it's something that we should all be quite concerned about. Of interest to you, one of the parents who has a child who is very sensitive to Wi-Fi was issued a trespass notice by police and a restraining order not to enter the school grounds for the rest of this year. And the reason that was given was that, one, she was conducting meter readings of the power levels from the Wi-Fi in her child's classroom, and two, she was handing out a copy of one or two parents of the letter that we issued to the department, which is freely available on our website. So a bit disappointing. So what can you do? That's another key question that we've been asked. What can I do as a parent? And how can I assist with whatever's going on? Well, the best thing you can do at this time is to form groups of like-minded parents and to educate. To educate those parents, educate yourself, educate your school principal, educate your council. I just want to make it clear, we don't subscribe to conspiracy theories, right? This is just about profit, it's a profit motive. And by educating yourself, you're best to focus on well-respected authorities, all right, such as Emeritus Professor Dr. Martin Paul, doctors, medical doctors, scientists, and lawyers that have various opinions on this. We at ECSFR, as a public service, compile information. So if you go to our website, you will see that we have a links page that will take you to various documents and information. We have a YouTube channel, and we have additional resources on our site. So that's a starting point. But perhaps from a government perspective, a good starting point would be for you to educate yourself by looking at the 2001 Senate inquiry into this issue. And it's very clear, in the executive summary, you have statements such as Dr. Bruce Hocking, the former Chief Medical Officer of Telstra, reporting on cancer clusters in children around towers. APANZA doesn't agree. And so on and so forth. So all these medical experts coming forward with information, and the Hansard recording that APANZA didn't agree. The recommendation of that Senate inquiry was that ICNIRP, which is the international body that we talked about previously, that their standard not be adopted and that the precautionary principle be applied. That wasn't the case. So APANZA did adopt the ICNIRP requirements. Now this is interesting. If like me, you watch the news occasionally, you may recall that from time to time, somebody represents themselves as a medical practitioner and gives medical advice. And they're investigated, and it turns out they're actually not qualified medically. And my recollection is they go to jail. My understanding is that in order to provide medical advice, you have to be a medical practitioner, a specialist, a doctor, perhaps someone who is medically qualified that lectures and trains doctors. At the time of the 2001 Senate inquiry, and quite possibly today, APANZA employed no medical specialists, and yet they issue opinions on health and safety, and those opinions are accepted by government agencies all over this country. I'll let you think on that one for a minute. I should mention too, in terms of the what next. So by forming your parent groups, by educating yourself and others, you're ready for inevitable action that will occur. Now, that may be great rejoicing if the Department of Education consider the risk is sufficient enough to children, perhaps that they've been misled, and they do decide to pull Wi-Fi out of schools and hardwire the various computers. Or it may be that we end up having to take our government to court to protect our children. Time will tell. But for the moment, what we're doing, and you're probably aware that we're based in the Byron Shire, what we are doing is we're preparing for the second outcome. So in the near future, we'll be announcing about an information night. We will be announcing about a crowdfunding. And any of you that wish to subscribe, please do. Any of you that wish to donate, please do. We're all volunteers. Nobody gets paid. And the medical and legal advice we obtain is for all. And we're fortunate to be associated with some good-hearted experts in their various fields. So a key question that we've been asked is that if my child is exhibiting symptoms of a response or a reaction to the poisoning from microwave radiation, what can I do? Well, you would or you will observe various statements by various medical experts that say anything ranging from itchy eyes, headaches, insomnia, and so it goes on and on and on, are very well symptoms of well, I won't call it electrohypersensitivity, I'll call it a reaction to the poison from electromagnetic radiation. So you need to go and see a doctor, because we're not qualified to give medical advice, okay? You must go and see a doctor, and ideally a doctor that is aware of this issue and has educated themselves and has dealt with patients before. And that doctor will make recommendations on how your child's symptoms and how they could possibly be minimised. It's important that you make the school aware of that. You may issue a non-consent form to the school that you don't consent to your child being irradiated, and you may go one step further and seek legal advice and issue a warning notice to the school. It's our understanding that a person can be assaulted with a pollutant, and microwave radiation certainly is a pollutant. The threat of assault may also constitute assault, but that's where you need to get your legal advice. So you get your medical advice, you get your legal advice, and make sure the school is aware. That's on an individual basis. What we're hoping to do, what we're planning to do rather, is to deal with this on a collective basis. So we're not, what's been happening in the past and what you as parents have indicated to us is one by one, you've all been approaching the Department of Education for different outcomes, responses. It's time we all did this collectively. It's a very sad state of affairs that we're in presently, where those rights of a child are perhaps insignificant to the profits and the convenience that is generated by wireless technology. Thank you.